So like always, I'm going to start off by priming my lids. I'm going to take a little bit of the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. And I'm just going to spread that on my lids. Use that as a base for everything else that I'm going to put on top. So this look is actually pretty simple. I would say the most tedious or time-consuming part is just sitting there and actually blending out what you need to blend out. But for right now, we're just going to start by defining the crease. For this whole look, I'm going to be using the Anastasia Soft Glam palette. Oldie, but she's such a great palette. I feel like if you're a makeup artist, if you're just starting to get into makeup, this is just such a staple palette. It has all your neutrals, great transitions, and then you have this section right here which can literally amp up any look. And Anastasia shadows in general, it's just a great formula. You can never go wrong with her. So yeah, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of orange soda to start off with, and just putting this directly in my crease. And I'm using the Morphe M456, just a small brush that lets me get into that crease. And with this look, you want to define the crease, give it a little bit of definition, but you don't want it to be too dark, so that's why I'm starting with orange soda. It's always easier to kind of like add than to take away. That's my theory with everything. So yeah, just very lightly, nothing special, just literally follow your crease. And I'm gonna extend it a little bit outward because that liner is gonna be super sharp and you don't want there to be a gap. Next color I'm gonna take is burnt orange, and with that same brush I'm gonna put that on top of the orange soda just to build up the definition in the crease. And then you can always take a clean fluffy blending brush and just go over that just to make it as seamless as possible. No harsh lines. So I use those two shades. You can take your bronzer, whatever bronzer you use. I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty bronzer in Private Island. And you just want to take a little bit of that. This is going to be more of like a bronzy toned brown, so it's going to kind of connect everything together, so you'll have that tone in your crease, and once you put it on your face, everything will just look kind of soft and like it goes together. So I just kind of like adding a little bit of that on top of everything else. I just realized I said I was going to use all the shades in this palette, but don't kill me. I really like this shade from the Melt Gemini palette, which is Luna, which is like a really nice nude tone, and I'm gonna use that to set my lid. But use any nude tone that you feel like matches your complexion to give you like a slight definition. Now we can go in with the Smokey liner. You want to take your favorite eyeliner, whichever one you like. I suggest it being more of like a gel-like formula that glides on a lot better. It'll just be a lot easier to blend. So I'm taking this one by Sleek Makeup. The Marc Jacobs ones are really good too. I really like those. LA Girl has a bomb ass pencil, so yeah. And then I'm just going to start kind of like lining. You want to start lining your top waterline. And then it doesn't have to be precise. It doesn't have to be a straight line. None of that. Just make sure you cover this top line up here, and then you want to start kind of like drawing your wing, kind of like have an idea of where you want that to go, and doesn't have to be perfect. Step by step, it's gonna look crazy before it looks really good. And the key to making that line, if you don't know where to stop or where to come back, what I always tell myself, that when I look down, you just want this to be a straight line. Like, you want this to be able that when you look down, it's a straight line. And that's pretty much how I experimented. Wing liner is still tricky to me. Like, some days I'll be like, you know what, I'm not even gonna try. This is not it. So this is basically like our sketch. Like a little idea of what's going on. I'm gonna be taking the black from the Anastasia palette, and I'm gonna be taking a pencil brush. Where I put down that black liner, you just want to go ahead and stamp that black eyeshadow on top. After that, you want to take that same pencil liner and just start kind of like wiggling that black around to kind of start diffusing the edges. That's all you're doing. And you don't want to bring it up too high, just right on the edge of that black that you already have down. And honestly, out here you can be as crazy as you want, but like I said, it's gonna get cleaned up. I'm gonna go in with this shade called Mulberry from that palette. It's like a reddish, it's like a brownish red, a really good transition into that black. I want to start blending that above that black line. This is what really emphasizes that smoke. And honestly, this is what's going to be the most time consuming during this look. So just kind of like sit back and relax and just sit there and blend that out. And I always kind of like overextend and it's looking wild right now, but it's good to kind of like overextend because when you clean it up, it'll just make like that fierce wing. So don't worry about it looking wild. Just take your time with the blending. Take your time. So I'm not done yet, but I'm gonna start to kind of like clean my line up to give me like an outline so I can see what the hell is going on. So you want to take your makeup wipe, whatever you use to clean your face, and just start cleaning up. And you see how automatically that gave me that whoosh. From there, you can start adding more. The more of that reddish shade you add, the smokier it'll look. Alright, so I think I'm pretty good with that for right now. I'm gonna clean it up one more time. And then what gives you that extra like definition is just kind of like the liner and everything else you're gonna put on. So let's do it. I'm gonna go in with that same liner and I'm gonna put it in my waterline. So after that, you want to take a liquid liner. I'm gonna take my Fenty Beauty Flyliner, and then you're gonna want to put this as close to your lash line as possible. This is just going to give your black a little bit more of intensity, and I feel like it'll complement the lash line a lot better. To make my eyes look a little bit more feline, make them look a little bigger, I'm gonna extend that wing a little bit out here. I don't know how to explain it. You'll just have to see what I'm doing. You've probably seen a lot of people do this. But what that does is just make your eye look a little bit more longer. I feel like it makes you look more snatched. You basically just want to, since we lined it down here, you want to extend that line out here and then bring it back into the lower tear duct. There's no better way to explain it, so I'll just have you see what I'm doing. I've been so sick lately. So when I have long conversations, my throat feels like the Sahara Desert. Oh my gosh. It feels like the SpongeBob episode where they were, I think it was the movie where they were sitting under the light and they were drying up. That's what my throat feels like. I'm gonna take that same black eyeliner and tightline my eye. I feel like when you do something smoky and like boom like this, you have to tightline because once you put your lashes on, you'll be able to see that skin and you don't want to do that. You want everything to just look sultry and smoky and just boom. After that's down, you're going to want to take a clean blending brush and just start smoking out that black on your lower lash line. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that reddish color that I used to diffuse that color up at the top and also kind of just add it down here to kind of just like mesh everything together. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the eyes. I feel like everything comes together once your face is snatched and you clean up around with some concealer. So let's move on to the face. To prep my skin, I already moisturized with the Marc Jacobs Youth Quake. So after that, I'm just gonna spray my face with the MAC Fix Plus just to... After my MAC Fix Plus, I go in with my Milk Hydro Grip Primer. Been really loving this primer lately. I feel like she just does what I want it to do. It helps my makeup stick on a little better. And she hydrates. you know, best combo. After that, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of cream highlight. You guys know I'm all about glow and just making the skin look luminous and healthy. So I recently picked up the Danessa Myricks Illuminating Skin Veil. I'm gonna take very little bit of that, and I kind of like to warm it up on the back of my hand, play with it, and then I'm gonna add it to the high points of my face. Ugh, I live. And then I just kind of like pat it in with my beauty blender, And then I feel like you can also mix this in with your foundations. Her products are very multifunctional. So one day I'll try and mix it in with my foundation, see how I like it. But for right now, look at my skin. So I'm gonna do a little bit of color correcting under my eyes. I don't have super crazy dark circles, but I'm just gonna add it. This is the Maybelline Age Rewind Concealer in medium. This is, I would say, 2 shades, maybe a shade darker than my actual skin tone. And I put this right here in that inner corner. And that just kind of helps neutralize that darkness. And I just kind of like pat it into that area. And that's the only area I focus that on. So for foundation, I'm going to go in with the Milk Makeup Stick. One of my faves so far. It just gives me a nice skin-like finish. We love her. And I'm actually going to buff her in with a brush. This is the Mario X Sephora foundation brush. And I'm just going to buff her in. Normally I don't buff my foundation in with a brush, but you know, this year is all about trying new things, and if I want to use a brush, I'm gonna use a brush. But I always make sure to go back in with my sponge and just kind of like pat everything out. My sponge is like my security blanket, I would say. If anything ever goes wrong, just pat her out. I'm gonna go in with my Nars Creamy Radiant Concealer. I use the shade Nougatine to kind of highlight a little bit, so I'm gonna take that right there. I'm gonna take a few dots right there. What I've been doing lately is just kind of like patting that in with like a flat concealer brush. It's a little bit more time consuming, but you know, when I'm sitting down taking my time, really been liking this technique. That's when I enjoy my makeup the most. Those are like my most therapeutic makeup sessions, because to me makeup is really therapeutic. Whenever I'm in a bad mood or I don't feel my best, I sit down and I start to kind of like beat my face. I'm listening to music, literally no care in the world. But yeah, after that you just want to take your sponge and then kind of blend it out. Get it closer to the lower lash line if you need to. Kind of clean everything up. After that, I'm going to put a little bit of warmth back into my skin. I'm using the Milk Makeup Cream Bronzer. I'm going to take whatever's left over on that concealer brush that I used, and I'm just going to kind of clean up under that bronzer warmth that I put down. I'm going to take some of my Hourglass translucent powder, and I'm just gonna set my T-zone. And I like using this powder in my T-zone because it's very, very finely milled. It's like so silky. And then for the rest of my face, because I am adding a powdered bronzer, and I'm just gonna set it with the Sephora microsmooth. Really, really love this powder because it sets without adding that super thick layer of powder bronzer that I've been loving lately, like loving, and I didn't think I was gonna love it as much as I did, is the Revlon Skin Lights Prismatic Bronzer. It just has such a nice sheen that makes your skin look nice and like luminous and just gives you that healthy glow. I added my lashes off camera. These are from AliExpress. I always leave them linked down in the description box just in case you want to cop them. I'm going to add my lip color, so I'm gonna do a nude. I'm gonna start off with the Shayla and X Colourpop BFF3 lip pencil. And then I'm gonna go in with the Bite French Press lip gloss in a flat white. I don't know if this is discontinued, but it's the perfect nude for me. Alright guys, so I went ahead and put on my earrings and that completes this look. I hope you guys liked it. There's something about smoky eyes and just like glass luminous skin that I live for. I feel like a bad bitch right now. And I feel like it didn't really take much. This look was pretty simple. It's just the fact that you gotta sit there and blend. But other than that, I'm living. She's living. She's live. I did get inspiration from Kim K, the look that Mario created, and also Desi Perkins. I'll put the looks up here, that way you guys can see. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have anything you want to see from me, any video suggestions, leave them in the comments down below. If you don't already, follow me on Instagram because I do post looks on there that you're not going to see on here. And yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. I hope you guys learned something. Give this video a thumbs up. I usually don't say that, but if you like tutorials, if if you're fucking with it, let me know by doing that. If you made it this far and you're not subscribed, that's a little sus. So subscribe. It's free and it helps me out. Yeah, that's it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye guys.